Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to do a player profile on Marc Casadó from Barcelona, the midfielder who is 22 years old and 128 days. We did one before on Yan Diomande, an attacker that was pretty fun. He's right now killing it at Leipzig, scored another goal last night. And I was interested in Marc Casadó. You know, we all know how good Pedri is, we all know how good Gavi is and Frankie de Jong, but this is a guy that might be on the move in the summer. Has a lot of qualities I do like, especially for the modern game, but lacks in some areas that we will get into that definitely need improvement if he wants to take that next step in his career. And it might not be at Barcelona, so let's get started. Made his debut in 2022 against Victoria Plzeň in the Champions League. Came on for an injured Frank Kessie, haven't heard that name in a while. And this was also the year in which Barcelona won La Liga title under Xavi Hernandez, right? So this was him in his debut for Barcelona in that, really interesting season for Barcelona where they had to trust in the youth because they were broke. Now, this positional graph is in terms of how he has played throughout his time at Barcelona since he broke into the senior team. If you notice, he usually plays in deeper positions as a 6/8 hybrid, usually plays off the right. And more importantly, his heat map is also, higher up the pitch because Barcelona dominate possession and play with a high press. So those are the positions he takes up. For a little bit more in-depth, this is on the left. This is 2024-2025. And this is how he's played in 2025-2026. Actually, excuse me. This one on the left is this season. The one on the right is last season. So clearly the same areas, operating in the same places. Not that much role versatility. Doesn't really play too high up the pitch. And we'll see why, because the shooting is awful. So role under Flick. I'm going to use some football manager references so people, it's a little bit easier. So on the top, the image on top, we have the anchor. Holds position in front of the back line, screens at the center, keeps your shape stable. In possession, he plays simple, safe passes and recycles rather than roaming around or taking risks. This is what he plays not most of the time, but some of the time. Not that much of a progressive passer. So this role for him is perfect. Not asking him to drive the ball forward and really create as much as some of the other players on the team like Frankie de Jong and Pedri. And then finally, the second role on the bottom, this is when he plays with a pivot like Marc Bernal or Frankie de Jong, Pedri, so on and so forth, and he's asked to push up a little bit higher. That is the ball-winning midfielder role. Actively steps out to press and tackle, trying to win the ball back quickly and disrupt opponents. He can leave his zone more, so he creates turnovers, but can also open space behind him if he chases. I believe he is better at this ball-winning midfielder role than he is at the anchor role, but these are the two positions he normally takes up. Not the most progressive of roles, clearly a safe role, recycle possession, move the ball around, win the ball back, right? In terms of role comparisons, we got Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. I think this is a very good comparison as to what he's asked to do. Tyler Adams is not the most, progressive player. Right here, we have the Right here we have the similarity chart on FBREF before FBREF went kamikaze. It's no longer with us. Opta has sold out to the gambling companies. It's a very depressing scene. But Moises Caicedo is up there. Idrissa Gana Gueye, Tyler Adams. These are the players, these anchor roles who just sit in front of the defense and are not asked to play too progressive, even though Caicedo is a more progressive player, and I would say Adams under Iriola is a progressive player. And then right here, I have a little chart on the bottom right that compares him to some players, and they say his closest representation is Adam Wharton. I don't know about that. I do not think that's true. But this is kind of like if you want to have an understanding of who he can compare to and how he plays. Because I know you Premtards don't actually watch football outside of England. So data analysis, assertions that we can make. So let's go to the WYSCOUT report. Get rid of this. All right. So let's go up real quick. Age 22. This is where I got the chart. So far this year has played almost 1,000 minutes. Last season played 1,756 minutes. So clearly there's a lot of minutes here to have a good discussion about what he likes to do, what he plays, what he's good at, what he's not good at, so on and so forth. This is the WYSCOUT player report rankings. This is him compared to the rest of the La Liga midfielders, not the top 5 leagues, just La Liga midfielders, right? So if you want to look at pure raw data, goals, assists, not very high. This is not an Enzo Fernandez type of player. Shots per 90, 70th percentile. When you play for a team like Barcelona, you kind of expect that to be a little bit more for the midfielders, considering how much they're on the ball, but it happens. Passes rank 3rd, average per 90, accuracy. You can kind of see what he's been asked to do for Barcelona players on top of that list right here. Doesn't get out wide and cross the ball compared to midfielders. Shot assist, not really. What is a shot assist? A shot assist is I pass you the ball and you shoot it. Okay? Not really much here again. Like I said before, there's not much in the final third. This is something you have to look out for when it comes to this player. If you need a guy to arrive in the box, to be a forward-thinking player, this is not it. This is more of a... We'll kind of get into it more, but the way I look at Marc Casadó is he's an essential part of a team, but he's a cog in the machine. He just allows the system to work fluidly, to work well. He isn't the guy that raises the ceiling of a team. He just makes sure everything runs smoothly, right? Now, this is an interesting one, defensive duels. Ranked 33rd. Now, this isn't possession adjusted, because if it was possession adjusted, it would be higher. This is the key point, right? And I'll get into my notes really quickly. So these are kind of some more defensive numbers here, but dribbles, doesn't do shit. Progressive passes, not bad, but not much really. You know, if you're a Barcelona player, you would like to be more. The biggest problem I have with his passing is he's nowhere near progressive enough, especially for the team he's playing for. You know, not many pure attacking contributions in the final third. Does not break the lines as frequently as you would like on a team like Barcelona. Progressiveness is a real issue. That is his biggest issue, and I think it was one of the reasons why Barcelona are open to selling him in the market last year and again this year. You know, in terms of his playmaking and the things that I do like, you know, you got nice ball distribution under pressure, knows where the next pass is, has the vision to play dangerous passes and through balls from deeper positions, but doesn't do it that often, and very good at starting counters and passing during transitions. That's where the most value of him as a passer comes from. Transitions, because he usually wins the ball back to start those transitions. Now, here we go. This is the defensive stuff that I really like. Recoveries, 17th. Counter pressing recoveries, 12th. This is very good. That ball-winning role, win the ball back high up the pitch. All right, and before we go on to some of the other raw data, let me give you my defensive notes on him. Very good at reading the game by being in good positions constantly. Gets his feet stuck in during most moments, allowing him to win the ball. Okay with duels and conflict. Oh, by say okay, I'm talking about he's perfectly fine being combative. No problem being combative in the midfield. Surprisingly good at winning headers and retaining possession while heading. He's actually, we're going to get into the film discussion. He does this quite often. And has a very good understanding of when to press and his anticipation. Now, his weaknesses when it comes to defending, physical frame is smaller. 1v1 defending, he's not the most athletic. He can get ran by, which causes him to lunge in and make rash tackles at times. And this could be dangerous and could lead to some discipline issues in other leagues. And that's the biggest problem, is his physical qualities just not high enough for him to be like an elite defensive player, right? But as a counter-presser, he's really good. Now, shots. Let's speed this video up a little bit. This guy cannot shoot the ball worth a shit. We'll get into, I got a couple clips on the shooting. Not really anything dangerous. Most of this is off set pieces, which surprisingly, he finds himself getting the ball on like the second or third balls and set pieces quite often when it falls to the ground, but not really much here. You know, if you look at his distribution, nothing special, right? Shot assists, once again, everything's from a deeper area. isn't doing much, right? Through passes per 90 is solid. Expected assists per 90, whatever, not really. Shot assists per 90, not really. Like if I showed you Pedri's, this shit would all be all the way to the right. Because Pedri, man, what a player. Penalty area deliveries, not bad. But then again, like I said before, I want more in the attacking third. That's the next step for him. When he played for Barcelona, I expect a little bit more. He hasn't taken that step yet. Crosses, doesn't do anything. Dribbles, not really driving by guys. Doesn't really have the physical attributes to drive by guys. Doesn't have the frame, doesn't have the acceleration. That's another issue. So the biggest things holding him back, in my opinion, are the physical attributes and his lack of progressiveness. You can be progressive without physical attributes. Although he's a very good counterpresser and ball winner and tackler, to be honest with you, his physicality at times lets him down. Recoveries in the final third. This is where the true value is. Look how high he ranks. Look where he's winning the ball back. Right? Dangerous recoveries per 90, very high. This is a guy that can create good, these pseudo-transitional moments, these dangerous recoveries and ball wins in the final third. The Jurgen Klopp mentality of, the best place to win the ball or create chances is when you win the ball in their final third and go quickly when they're not set up. And he does a lot of that. And here's his recoveries per 90, counter-pressing recoveries 90s per 90 through the roof. Again, this is, in my opinion, his best attribute. How well he recovers the ball, how well he counter-presses, his ability to read the game. I have a lot of clips specifically focusing on the defensive side of the ball. And that's the out-of-possession work, because I think that's where its true value is. And that's one of the reasons why his counter-attacking numbers are really good. His XG build-up is really good, right? Losses index, lost duels, he takes a lot of them. I'm not too focused about that. Remember, Hansi Flick asks his team to press constantly. XG in counter-attacks, XG chain, it's solid. Nothing special, but it's solid. I like it. I think he does a good job here. And then you got passes. Passes per 90 doesn't really matter. Passing accuracy, well, it does matter. He's a guy, like I said before, that Casado role, that Tyler Adams role. His job is to sit in front of the defense or win the ball back and just give it to the playmakers. Make sure you can recycle possession. XG chain is very high, though. A little bit of hidden value. XG chain is basically valuing every player's actions that lead to a shot and the XG created off of that shot, right? So if Casado is winning the ball back, let's say in and around the halfway line or in the, more attacking half, and giving it to a player in a more advanced position, like a Pedri or a Yamal or Rafinha, well, guess what? That has a lot of value because you just won the ball back and you're putting it in a much more dangerous situation. And that's why his XG buildup and XG chain is so high. That's the hidden value of this player, is because of his duel winning, because of his ball recovery, and also because of his ability to find guys in spaces that are more dangerous. There is a real value to him. He lacks the progressiveness. There is no doubt about that. He doesn't progress the ball enough forward, especially for this team. But still, there is real value in this, that if you're able to kind of build out his progressiveness as a passer, there's something really there for a top midfielder. Oh, I shouldn't say top midfielder. I don't think he has the ability to become a world-class midfielder. By world-class, I usually mean top 5 in your position. But he has the ability to, start for a couple big teams. I think he could start. I mean, he's already started for Barcelona in big games. He could start for a Liverpool. He could start for a Chelsea in a couple bigger games. What I'm trying to say is he deserves to be at bigger clubs because of this. The hidden value of this player is very high, and you don't always see it. 4 passes per 90, not bad. Passes into the final third, pretty good. All of these things kind of come together, right? So although his progressive passes might not be the highest, although his expected assists might not be the highest, it's okay, though, because he consistently just puts the ball into more dangerous areas, and that's highly valuable as a midfielder to do, especially one that is asked to do what? Win the ball back, create recoveries, press really high up the pitch. That's where his hidden value is. And I remember looking at these numbers, and that's why I got intrigued by him. Because I said, if this guy can do all of this, there's a real place for him in modern football, which is so physical. You know, the Arsenal brand of football, my God. But this player has that hidden value, and I think he's quite good. Dribbling can't do shit. He can't accelerate past players. He just doesn't have it in him. Won defensive duels in his own third. Again, really good at winning these defensive duels. Like more than a solid tackler. Constantly, I want to say defensively when I watch him play, he's constantly in and around, cutting passing lanes, getting his feet on the ball. Just really active defensively. Dangerous losses, doesn't lose the ball that much. That's good. Again, that screening role, that anchor role, right? Aerial duel percentage for a person his size is pretty good. Even though the duels per 90 is low, this is not bad. Like I said before, he's surprisingly good at winning headers, to be honest with you. And then this is the raw data, right? So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Right. And we could go to some FB reference stats now. So we looked at some WYSCOUT data, and you guys can go ahead and pause the video. Go see what those numbers said if you want to have a closer look. And, you know, when it comes to comparing the WYSCOUT data versus the FB reference data, there is a pretty close correlation. Like they kind of show the same thing, right? Of course, right here we can see the passing percentage is really high. We already saw that the passes attempted, the passes completed. Just again, really good, right? But I want you to look at some of these things right here. And we're talking about the lack of progressiveness. Through balls per 90. Now, I think that the WYSCOUT data, in my opinion, is better data, and the through balls per 90 were higher. So I believe that this number is a little bit low, but you can already see where he lacks and where he progresses at, right? He's not pushing the ball forward as much as maybe I would like. On the right, you're looking at more, you know, attacking third numbers. Progressive passes, pretty low. Key passes, low. Expected assists, expected assisted goals. These are all extremely low, right? He's not a, I don't like to say it like this, but he's not a creator, if that makes sense. He is the guy in the system that allows the other players to create. That's where his value is, right? Dribbling and possession, I want you to look at his touches, constantly getting on the ball. That's very good. Carries, surprisingly, solid. But progressive carries, low. Meaning when he does carry the ball, it's oftentimes making sure he gets out of pressure and recycles the ball, right? Get out of pressure, move the ball. Not really getting by guys and driving it forward, right? Miscontrols. Now, this is, I didn't really see this with the data as much, but there are a couple of times where he just loses possession. And it comes down to his physical frame when he receives the ball back to goal, right? So when you're trying to play out of pressure, he's very good at understanding where the next pass is and where to move the ball. And, you know, in terms of his off-ball movement to provide, you know, an option for a person on the ball to make sure they can continue moving the ball. The issue with him is, though, his physical attributes, right? If a player is able to press up on him, he becomes a little bit panicked, thus leading him to not hitting the ball cleanly, passing the ball cleanly, and it could lead to some miscontrols, which lead to turnovers in more dangerous areas. That's something that we will look at in the clips, and it is a little bit of an issue. And that's why, you know, I make a slide at the end of this video, which goes over, like, ideal places for him to go. I think he needs to continue playing in a system that allows for progressiveness, that allows for a little bit more time and space. If he goes to the Premier League, I think this could become an issue, right? But yeah, if you want to pause the video, look at this stuff. Right here, we have some defensive contributions. Tackles in the middle third and attacking third are really good. They're really good. Again, pressing high up the pitch, winning the ball back in dangerous areas. We saw it on the WYSCOUT data. We saw it here. Now, this is an interesting stat. Blocks. When we look at the tape, this guy is like constantly blocking passing lanes. Really good anticipation of where the ball is going to go. And that's highly valuable. It doesn't allow teams at times to hit dangerous passes or move the ball forward because he's just always there. Passes blocked, really high up as well. That's where most of the value comes from. This is in my opinion, this is an important statistic, especially if you're a front-footed team that's playing high up. You want guys that are able to read passing lanes. You want guys to be in positions to make sure teams can't transition quickly and you can win the ball back in dangerous areas. So again, you're seeing the real true value of his attacking output coming from his defensive contributions. And then finally on the bottom, you see interceptions, tackles plus interceptions, and errors, all really good. Ball recoveries. Ball recoveries is a weird stat. I don't think you should really give a shit about that. And then aerials lost, aerials won for a guy who was under 5'10". It's whatever. Like I said before, if you watch the tape, I think he's surprisingly good at retaining possession on headers, right? Year-over-year comparison, so the one in red is last year, the one in blue is this year. As you can see, now he's been injured. He hasn't played as much yet, but percentage of dribblers tackled right here is something to look at. Not as high. Possession adjusted tackles, not as high. So there is, this is the biggest drop-off that I do not like seeing. Progressive passes have decreased by 1.5. I just don't. Through balls decreased, scoring contributions decreased. This is the area you wanted to see improvement by. That's why I think he will be sold by Barcelona this summer, because, you know, when you have Marc Casadó coming in, you have Gavi that's probably going to come back. They might want to bring in another player from their academy or from the outside. You need, I would have liked to see at least a consistent improvement or at the same level, and it's just not there. That is his biggest issue. It is his progressiveness. Oh, fuck me. Okay, let's get to the video analysis. Please, do not fuck me. I'm hoping this works well. So we're going to be looking at we're going to be looking at 4 different things, right? So if I go back to the PowerPoint, we're going to be looking at defending, passing, dribbling, shooting, right? Now, the first 2, defending and passing, are much more valuable. I shouldn't say valuable. Those are the things that he excels at. I shouldn't even say excels at passing, but defending, passing, dribbling, and shooting, that's kind of the value chart I put in terms of how I rank him and what he's good at compared to what he's not as good at. So let's start off with some defensive contributions, right? All right, hopefully this thing works well. I mean, I'm hoping. All right, here we go. Right here. My bad. These are quick clips. Right here, reads the game, understands where the space is, sees where the attacker is going to go, bam, wins the ball back. Now, obviously, they don't retain possession there, but again, that's a very good sign, right? Once again, reads the game really well. So we got a lot of defensive clips. You'll see this quite often. This is where his true value is. Bam, wins the ball back high up in a dangerous area. This is interesting. I'm going to pause this real quick. Here's Marc Casadó. Here's Julian Alvarez. You got all the space behind you. I want you to see, this is one of the biggest weaknesses when it comes to his defending. His lack, like he's a little bit rash when it comes to tackles. Bam, stops, this is the space, this is where you want to defend. Instead, he takes like a straight angle at him, lunges, and then he gets passed by. Like if we go back to that clip, right, this is not a good angle for you to go straight, because that allows Julian Alvarez to, if he chipped the ball over you, go out wide, or cut inside into a more dangerous area. You need to block something off and force him one way. And this is a common occurrence when he has to defend 1v1. He's not the best 1v1 defender. Counter-pressing, high recoveries, dangerous recoveries, really good. But 1v1 defending in space is an issue. I don't even know why this clip is here. I have no idea why I put that clip there, right? Oh, this is very nice. Reads where the marker is, knows where the space is, checks over his shoulder, does a fantastic job, and just wins the ball back very simply, puts it back to the goalkeeper. I think that is a fantastic clip. This is a clip you would like to see. If you're a team like Bayern or Chelsea or Liverpool who press high up the pitch, who play front-footed, you need to have midfielders that are able to track runs. As a Chelsea fan, I can promise you, sometimes I watch Enzo Fernandez, I'm like, yo, the guy just ran by you, bro. Can you at least try? This was fantastic defending. Really good IQ. Bam, understands exactly what to do here. Nice job. So we're just going to go, like, kind of scroll through these clips, look at everything, and, you know, kind of just let you have some assertions on how good he is, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully, I don't get copyright strike. I probably will. But right here, reads the game again and closes down the space, wins the ball back. Don't like having that Champions League logo. Here's the heading I was telling you about. Right here, reads the game, bam, wins the header, right back to Yamal. I mean, that's for a guy as small as him to do this is quite impressive. And he does this quite often. Bam, you get the ball, Koundé can make a run, you have possession again. Right? This is when I was talking about blocking passing lanes. Wins the ball back. Now, that would have been a very dangerous pass, and he would have had the back post cross open, but he gets his foot stuck in and doesn't allow it to happen. Right? Here again, header. Wins the header, they win possession, and now they're breaking. It's just a very consistent nature of his defensive contributions. I think it's really good to look at. Right here, sees the ball, wins the ball. I believe he wins the ball. Gets his foot stuck in. You can't transition quickly and directly. That's another thing that he does really well, is making sure that you cannot do the most optimal route. He forces you to do something else, which slows down their buildup, slows down their transitions, allows you to get in better defensive shape. Right? Again, sees Koundé's beat, knows where the space is to exploit, and closes it down really well. Doesn't allow this ball to get crossed in. Fantastic job. Again, sees Koundé's got beat. He has to cover this man coming inside, closes down the space, blocks the shot. That's just fantastic defending. Really good anticipation. Now, this is, again, one-on-one defending in space. I have no idea what the fuck he's doing here. You can't press the guy. There's too much space. There's too many options. Just make sure he can't go into the middle of the pitch, force him out wide, make the next pass predictable. What does he do? Gets nutmegged. That is not acceptable. I'm sorry, but that is not acceptable. If you are not able to play as a 10 or pushed up high up the pitch like an 8, okay, and you are limited to the 6 role, you have to defend against these transitions. This is a transition that Casado will win the ball back, or at least make sure he doesn't get beat towards the middle. That Tyler Adams won't allow happen. These are the very transition attempts that if you are limited to playing as a 6 in a deeper position, you cannot get ran past like this. I'm sorry. So that needs to be better if he wants to, improve in that position. Because not all defending is about physical attributes, winning the ball back. Sometimes it's just making sure the player, if there's a multitude of outcomes that can happen, right? Make sure that one of the outcomes that is taken in the game is that which is less dangerous, which is less optimal. Obviously, getting beat and gone by in the middle is not that. Now, this is a good version of him making sure you get the most optimal pass, pressing really good on the back. Now, he kind of fouls him here. There's no doubt about it. But he stops the pass into a more dangerous option, which is this left back flanking the wide area, and just makes him go back towards the middle. Now, he's wide open here, considering Barcelona's defending is crazy, but it forces them to take a less optimal route. In my opinion, that's very good defending. Massive space here, one-on-one defending. What does he do? Fouls the shit out of the guy. That's an issue. You're going to have discipline issues if you continuously do that, right? And that's his lack of physicality. Normally, you would see a player just decide to, you know what? I'm going to turn, right? I'm just going to turn and run with you and just kind of force you to go wide. That didn't happen here. Really good tackle here. This is, once again, why is that XG change so high? Why is that counterattacking change so high? It's because of tackles like this. You get a shot from Rafinha, and he just wins the ball back here. Really good tackle, and guess where Barcelona set up? In the attacking third, with all these guys in the box, and catching Deportivo kind of out of position because they came up to defend. They moved upwards. That is a really good play. That is, again, where his value lies. Sorry if it takes a minute to load these videos. I have no idea why WYSCOUT is like this, man. I guess this one decided it doesn't want to work. That's a rash tackle. This is something that could get him sent off. He wins the tackle there, but I just want you to show that sometimes he just does this. It's now he kept his foot on the ground, but again, right here, reads the defense, reads the next pass, gets there. Good job, wins the ball back, and now they're going. Just really good play. Oh, this is heading again. Look at him. Look at him win the header. Oh, that was very good. Shields off the attacker, number 7, like this. Wins the header, and just goes back to his own team. I mean, that's phenomenal. Like, he's actually surprisingly very good at winning headers. We're almost done with the defensive clips. Here's where I want you guys to see. Again, one-on-one defending in space. Gives him the outside. That's fine. What are you going to do then? Lets him get by him very quickly, and then just fouls. Well, doesn't even foul him. Just gets bodied. This is his biggest weakness. He just doesn't have the physical tools to out-duel somebody when it's not on the ground, or when it's not a loose ball, or when it's not counter-pressing. Just straight up defending, you can kind of have your way with him. Get the fuck off of him, you know what I'm saying? I don't even look. What was that? You see what I'm saying? The biggest fault he has defensively is his physicality, right? His physical frame is smaller in stature, leading to being bodied. This could have implication with cards, discipline issues. That is the biggest, like, crux he has on this side of the ball. Overall, but I hope the clip showed the true value he has in reading the game, winning the ball back high up in dangerous areas and counter pressing, right? Now we're going to go on to, let me get the playlist ready, his passing, right? Now, he lacks progressiveness. There's no doubt about it, right? But there is something here, man. There is something here. There is something here. So he's on the ball, right? I mean, look at this pass. I need more of this. This is a phenomenal pass into space, and it leads to a goal. I need more of this. So it's not that he can't be progressive. It's like he just doesn't do it enough. This is against Real Madrid. Sees the space, right? Drives into the space. Pause it here. And makes a phenomenal pass to Lewandowski. And this eventually leads to a goal, right? I mean, that is fantastic football. Drives into space. And I'm not seeing this as much in the second here. You saw glimpses of this. Like, this is 24-25. This is not 25-26. I mean, look how far back I have to go to show you these videos. A lot of these videos, or clips, excuse me, are from last year. And it shows you there's an actual regression in his progression. A regression in his progression. Absolute bars, man. Fuck me. Fuck me, man. All right, let's go to the next clip. Against Monaco. Again, fantastic clip here. Turns, sees Yamal make the run. Instantaneously passes him the ball. Wonderful play. Bam. And they actually scored off of this, right? I need more of this. If you're going to have time and space, you have to make them pay. And he just doesn't do it enough. But he did it quite often last year. Not so much this year, right? So the vision is there. It's not like it isn't there. It's there. Look at this. One step ahead. This leads to a goal. One step ahead. Right? This is him under pressure. So you want to talk about press resistance, right? Loses the ball. Right? This is an issue. This is what I was talking about, his physical frame. If you can get on him, he will oftentimes miss these passes that he usually hits. And then that leads to a dangerous turnover. That's the biggest issue when it comes to his press resistance. A lot of his problems as a midfielder, you know, if we take away kind of the sort of issues he has with his progressiveness, comes down to his physical frame, right? Provides the option, recycles possession. This is what I like to see. This is why it reminds me of Casado and Tyler Adams. Maybe not as good as those guys. Definitely not as good as Casado, but, you know. Now look at this. 4 guys around him. Staves off number 7. Makes a pretty good pass. Rashford falling down like a bitch. But again, there is real promise there. This is from this year. Now, this is the counter-attacking that I keep telling you about. That's where its true value is. Great ball into space. I would have liked a little bit more flat. But again, that's where his true value lies as a passer so far this year, right? Under pressure, starts the counterattack, knows exactly where to go. Just call him on the ball. Good job. So, like, you know, I think there's something here, man. I really think there's something here. Again, starts the counter. Not much here. So on and so forth. But I only have 14 clips, man. I only have 14 clips on this shit. There's not that much of it. Like, you see some of these passes, they're phenomenal. His understanding of the, you know, the movement of the defenders, the movement of his players, like the Pedri goal, if we go back to it, is just, it's fantastic. I think it was this one, if I'm not mistaken. This is just fantastic. But there's just not enough of it. Like, for him to be able to find this pass to Pedri and not just hit it at him, but hit it with a through ball like this, phenomenal. That is phenomenal football. But he doesn't do it enough. Biggest issue is progressiveness. And then followed by, you know, small physical stature, which you can make up for if you become technically better. And already with his counter-pressing ability, if you can improve that technical ability, especially in the final third, especially on passes like this, which clearly he's shown to have, come on, man. You're looking at a really good midfielder. Now, on to the next part of the playlist, which is, let's go dribbling. There's not much. I got 9 clips, and trust me, I did not really try to... I wasn't trying to trim it down. Like, there isn't much, to be honest with you, right? So gets the ball here. Couple of guys around him. He's a tight... Like, if I were to give you my notes on his dribbling real quick. Before we start. Tidy. Can get by guys with quick ball movements and make sure he doesn't lose it. Not bad at receiving under pressure and sustaining possession. But his weakness is in dribbling. Lack of physicality and speed to drive past players and accelerate into space. We have a couple clips where he does it, but it's very rare. Unlike when you watch Pedri play, who it seems like 2-3 times a game, he's just dribbling by a couple of defenders and getting into a very dangerous area. Tough time losing marker even if he's able to turn on him. Due to physical frame, losing the ball with back to goal can become concerning and isn't immune to giveaways in dangerous areas of the pitch. I think we already showed that, but this is one of those instances where he was very tidy on the ball, 3 guys around him. Quick ball movement, gets by the guy, bang. Gonna hit the ball to the outside. Very good job there, right? But that's most of his dribbling. He can't really do much else. Him going into space doesn't have, like, okay, let's say you put it on your left foot here into that space. Can you get by this defender? No, you can't get by this defender. He just doesn't have the, like, too tidy. He needs to put the ball ahead of him. Here's the space. Now, this is a, you know, example of him actually getting by his marker, but with quick dribbles. Bam. Good job. Like, that's a pretty good job, right? And he's able to get past that guy, and they were kind of through on goal. I cut down the, you know, clip, so hopefully I don't get copyright strike. Again, bam. Nice turn on the ball. Really good job. Have you noticed that these are only happening in a couple of games? This is from last year. It's not even from this year. Not that many exist. Bam. Turns. Wins the foul. Not bad. But, again, like I said, there's not that many clips of this shit. Wins the foul. Whatever. You know. I guess there's value in being able to win fouls, you know, if you're Arsenal. But nice dribble. But there isn't, like, I'm not even kidding you guys when I say this. There isn't much. This is probably his best bit of dribbling I've seen, and it's from last year, but it is probably the best I've seen. Receives the ball, sees the space. Look what he does, right? Pass 1, pass 2, pass 3. Holds off the guy, continues going forward. That was the best dribbling I've done. Now, Pedri and De Jong and these guys can do it quite often. He just doesn't do it that often and doesn't have the technical quality to do it. So the dribbling is really, I shouldn't say it's a non-factor, but it's definitely not a strength. And it's not really a weakness. It's just not part of his game. The best clip, though, that I've seen from him dribbling-wise, driving forward, accelerating, is at Barcelona B in the youth system, right? Gets the ball here. 1-2. Look at him go. Madre mia, man. Look at him go. Can't accelerate worth a shit, though, and loses the ball. So the dribbling is, it's not really a factor, right? And then you got the shooting, which is an even bigger non-factor, right? Now, when I wanted to, like, you guys might be asking, well, Nima, you know, That's fully like, why are you scouting this player then if you thought, you know, he might not have some of the upper tier qualities, right? Because Yan Diomande has the ability to be a top 5 winger in the world, certainly the best winger in like the Premier League. So why are we scouting Marc Casadó? To be honest with you, I thought he was better. I like the player, and I just thought he was better. And there was rumors for a transfer, and I always thought his counter-pressing and defensive work was good. He just lacks a little bit too much, man. I thought there was more here. Now let's get into his shooting. Holy shit. So he does I should say does a really good job, but he oftentimes finds himself shooting the ball like right over here in the 18-yard box, not really diving into the box like an Enzo Fernandez or a Jude Bellingham or who else would be a good example? You know, Tijani Reinders, right? He finds himself outside the box quite often. Now, what does he do outside the box? Let's say, does he have a rocket on him like, you know, Casado? Can he really strike the ball? Well, takes a touch, leans back, terrible technique. This shit goes nowhere near the goal. Just a terrible shot, right? Again, against Real Madrid in the dying minute. Wide open guy in Fermín López, misses him. He's leaning back again. Shit was nowhere near going into the goal. Makes a wrong decision there too. Pass to Fermín López. Gets the ball here, yeets it. Absolutely nothing happens. Terrible shot. There's not much going on with this passing game. Here we go. Casado receives the ball, takes a touch, shoots it, does absolutely nothing with it. That shit was never going into the goal. There is not, like, the dribbling, at least there's a function to it. At least he's tidy. At least he can get by guys at times and make sure he holds onto the ball. The passing, you really see the sort of potential there. That if he just, I think it's more of a mental thing, like, dude, let's just play forward more. Play more aggressive. There is real vision there. There is real quality there. And then, of course, the defending, I think, is really good, barring the 1v1 stuff. His counter-pressing is fantastic, right? But the shooting? There ain't shit when it comes to shooting, man. There ain't much to work with. You know what else is not working? This fucking WYSCOUT thing. God damn. Here we go. Casado receives the ball. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah, you should apologize. You should have passed it. This is damn. I gotta watch a fucking preseason game against Vissel Kobe in Japan, man. Gets the ball here again, leaning back a little bit, and this shit, yeah, not even close. And that's not even a bad area to shoot the ball. Oh, what the fuck? I mean, come on, man. Give me a little bit more. Yo, WYSCOUT. Yo, I didn't spend all this money for this shit for you to not load, man. Look what I gotta deal with, man. The state of this fucking website. Low-key, this might be his best shot, by the way, if I'm not mistaken. I think this was his best shot. His best shot is just not on target. Now, this isn't the clip, but I what the fuck is that? I got rid of a couple of clips, a decent amount of clips on set pieces. For some reason, this player seems to always find himself in and around this area getting opportunities. It's fucking crazy. And by the way, he doesn't do anything with them. But they're good XG opportunities, to be honest with you. So if he can maybe put those away, there's a little bit of value in his shooting. Right? So here he is. Look at him go. Mado. Wow. And then we have the final clip, which is against Sevilla, which I thought was not bad. Driving in. This is probably his best technique. With his left foot, puts the laces through it, and it got deflected, but it was not a bad shot, right? So that was the best opportunity he's had. Let's go back to the PowerPoint, because essentially this is the video analysis is over. So what did we learn defending-wise, counter-pressing-wise? Really good. Passing-wise, there's extreme potential there in order to become a very good passer, especially in the final third. Dribbling-wise, tidy, can get by guys, but doesn't lack, lacks the physical qualities to hold off defenders while he's trying to accelerate. And also, once he gets past players, to accelerate past them. Can't do that shit. Shooting-wise, horrendous. We don't want this guy shooting shots. Let's just put it that way, right? So, final thoughts on the player. Really good counter. Well, actually, I have him right here. Pros. Let's look at some boxes. Defensive and off-ball work. Excellent reader of the game. Consistently positions himself well. Strong counter presser and reliable ball winner. Very competitive in duels. Not afraid of midfield contact. Surprisingly effective aerially for his size. With header retention. High anticipation and strong understanding of when to press. Passing and build-up. Calm, efficient distributor under pressure. Always aware of the next pass. Keeps tempo moving. Capable of playing dangerous passes and through balls from deeper areas. Very good at starting counters and passing during transitions. Adds real positive value in build-up phases. Just realized when I write things down like in a script model, my thoughts are much more fluid, concise, and efficient. Maybe I should start writing more scripts like I was doing a couple months back, so I don't start going off in 15 different fucking directions when I speak. Dribbling and ball retention. Secure in tight spaces. Uses quick touches to protect the ball. Decent at receiving under pressure and sustaining possession. Intangibles. Smart, proactive player who anticipates actions both defensively and offensively. Helps jumpstart attacks while still maintaining defensive discipline most of the time. Overall net positive presence despite limitations. Pretty good positives. Cons. Physical and defensive limitations. Smaller physical frame can be bodied by stronger opponents. By the way, feel free to pause and look over each one of these boxes in the previous 2 slides. 1v1 defending in space is a clear weakness, especially against pace. Can be brushed off by the ball by bigger players shielding possession. Not quick or agile enough to recover when turned. Decision making and discipline. Tendency to lunge aggressively to win the ball from behind or side. Over commitment can lead to positional or discipline issues. Progression and final third, impact. Lacks consistent progressive carrying. Limited attacking output and influence in the final third. Doesn't break lines as frequently as desired for a Barça level midfielder. Overall progression via dribbling or passing remains the key issue. I think that is the biggest issue. Dribbling under pressure. Can struggle to turn quickly when tightly marked. Again, physical. Physical limitations can lead to dangerous giveaways in deeper areas. Shooting. Shot quality and possession is poor, especially versus low blocks. Rarely gets into dangerous shooting zones. Shots mostly come from scrambles, set piece second balls, or transitions. Not a goal threat, though he still commands attention defensively, right? Overall, these are kind of my final thoughts on the player. And I went into this expecting more. I went into this thinking there would be more progression. I feel a little bit... Nobody's saying that this guy's a world-class player. Nobody's hyping him up. But I thought I saw something in him that I don't think is there. In further review, in a more detailed analysis, I just don't think it's there, right? But as a player, my overall final thoughts, if you want to pause and look at them right here, and I'll read them out right now if somebody's listening. Bullet point number 1. Nice, tidy player on the ball that can sit and be an anchor for a team and recycle possession effectively and efficiently to get the ball to more dangerous players and areas. Defensive anticipation is quite good, with strongest attribute coming during the pressing phase of the game as he reads patterns and plays as well, leading to a high number of turnovers created in dangerous areas. Dribbling-wise is nice on the quick turn and has a good understanding of leverage/angles, but clearly lacks the acceleration to consistently beat his man and get away from him. Defensively, due to physical limitations, it leads to lunges and rash tackles that sees him get carded and ultimately out of possession, specifically when he runs alongside players or they're squaring him up. It was the same issue I have with Jeremy Jacquet, by the way, for Chelsea, that center back for Plzeň. Biggest issue, without a doubt, is the lack of progressiveness for a midfielder that is really apparent within a team like Barcelona that creates the environment and tactical encouragement to drive the ball forward. Although he seems to have the vision to break not only the lines, but deliver the final ball for attackers, he doesn't do it enough. Transfer value and ideal locations, right? Now, this is a player that I think would be a fantastic depth midfielder for a top club, that's competing on multiple fronts. But if you're requiring him to be the main guy in terms of a creator, so let's break it down a little bit here. This is a player who fits in the anchor role we discussed earlier. He cannot be the main progressive force within a team, or at least has not shown that yet. He's an extremely good presser and can pick a pass to break the lines on occasion. He sits in front of the defense, recycles possession, and provides options on build-up through positional play. Third man concepts, so on and so forth. He's not the main creator, but rather the cog in the machine that allows the system to flow properly. We discussed that before. In terms of transfer value, the lack of progressiveness and physical limitations makes me put a hard cap on his price at around 50 million. To be honest with you, I would go more towards 40, 45. This is a big issue, is his progressiveness, right? Anything more just seems like an overpay for a player who clearly does not have the upper echelon qualities of midfielders and shows a clear lack of physicality at times. I would put that cap actually lower. If I'm a big club, I'm looking at 42 million, 43 million as the cap I would put a player on, on a player like this. I would not go above that, right? Ideal fits. I got a couple of teams. Real Sociedad. Most Barca adjacent development environment, structured possession, smart passing, clear 6 responsibilities, a lot of reps as the connector without being forced to be the main progressor. To add on to Real Sociedad a little bit more, if he needs to improve his technical quality, I suggest staying in Spain. So he could continue getting a lot of reps, like it says on the slide, and hopefully learns to become more progressive of a player. Because if he goes to some of these other leagues, I think they would really specifically want him for what? His counter-pressing, his ball winning, and just his tidiness on the ball when it comes to, press resistance. I don't think they want him for what he is now. They're not going to really try to develop him to becoming a better progressive player, becoming a better passer, and become more of a creator, which I think is the next step, because I don't know how much more he could do defensively to get better, other than understanding when to press and what angles to take because of his physical limitations. So I believe the next step, if he wants to truly progress as a midfielder, is to become a better progressive passer, to be more consistent at it. And I don't know if him moving out of Spain allows that for it to happen. So if I'm him and I'm thinking more about if Barcelona is telling me you might want to leave, the first thing in my mind is, where can I go to continue to improve, right? And I think staying in Spain would be the most ideal, and that's why I have Real Sociedad as number 1. Number 2 is, look at these guys, man. It's Arsenal, of course. If they use him as a support 6, screen, recycle, counter press, next to / behind bigger progressors, well, they only have one, that's Odegaard. He grows inside a high-level positional structure with controlled transitions. They'll bring his ass off the bench and go tell him to, go win the ball. Number 3, Bayer Leverkusen. Coaching structure for press and play, 6. He benefits if the team's rest defense stays organized, so he's constantly defending open grass. So he isn't constantly defending open grass. Number 4 is Italy. Because in Italy, he has a shit ton of physical advantages compared to Bundesliga, and then more specifically, Spain and England, right? Italy, physically, with Liga is, in my opinion, look at Modric. Just go look at how Modric is playing. Like, what the fuck? So number 4 would be AC Milan. They need some midfielders. I think Serie A structure plus double pivot possibilities with the likes of Allegri in the way that he plays so far. Equals ideal protection. He'd be valued for ball winning plus clean circulation with less demand to be a one-man progression hub. And then finally, Inter Milan's getting older with the likes of Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan. Why not? Very role-defined midfield in a structured system in that 3-5-2. He'd be a strong system cog option in an environment that protects his physical limitations, right? They got a bunch of midfielders, and the 3-5-2 is to make up for the fact that Çalhanoğlu and Mkhitaryan weren't the strongest. I think he would actually do quite a good job there, especially if they sell the likes of Fratesi, who hasn't worked out that much over there, right? And I believe that is the last slide. So that is my analysis of Marc Casadó. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the player, how much he's worth, where you think he should go. And we'll have a video out, I believe, on Friday. I think this is going to release on Thursday, the 29th. But we'll have a video out on Friday discussing the Champions League knockout stage draws and I'll have a predictions video for that. But Marc Casadó, player profile, you know, good player. I like him. Serves a real purpose, but if he can improve that progression, he could go from a good player to a, I'm not going to say elite, but a guy that can start on some pretty good teams rather than be more of a system player or role-specific player, if that makes sense. So thank you guys for watching. It was fun doing this video, and peace out. And by the way, go check out the Yan Diomande profile. It's more fun because it's goals and shit. Thank you.